Welcome back, fellow gamers. So today was the announcement day for Wizards of the Coast. So for those of you who don't know, Wizards of the Coast has transitioned their way of delivering news about upcoming sets and upcoming products. They're doing it twice a year now, whereas beforehand they used to trickle out the information throughout the year. I'm assuming the reason why they changed it and made it in this format was so that they can control when the information gets released and there's more of a tight grip on things and there's not as much leaks, is what I'm assuming. Because other than that, it really doesn't make much sense. Like, I personally don't really like announcement day. I'm not going to get on this big rant. I just consolidating all your information to pretty much 2 days instead of generating hype year round seems like the incorrect way of going about it. But hey, I'm sure they've done the research and much more involved people than I have made the decision. What I really want to talk about today is what was a part of announcement day, and it's actually pretty exciting stuff. So exciting, in fact, that it kind of detracts from the spoilers that are going to be hidden in the next week, because that's when spoilers for Kaladesh start with packs this weekend. So the first thing that jumps to mind is the desert oasis world, as it's been dubbed, of Amonkhet, which essentially is, Egypt. It pulls a lot of from the pharaohs and pyramids. You see with the art behind me that it actually is pretty cool, but one thing that you'll notice are the giant horns behind the pyramid. That's right. It seems like Nicol Bolas apparently is like emperor of the plane or something or other. Interesting enough, also, even more interesting than that is that there are 5 gods. So are they going to be something similar like the gods of Theros? I'm assuming that since Nicol Bolas is kind of the king baddie amongst, the multiverse threats, is he controlling the gods, or are the gods maybe a ruse or a deception so that the people fall in line and worship Nicol Bolas? Or maybe Nicol Bolas is just seen as the head of the god pantheon. But what is also interesting to note, so you'll notice the 2 big horns, but if you look at the structures, you'll actually see Nicol Bolas' horns pretty predominant throughout the architecture. But one thing I want to show you is look at the art for this card. So this card came out back in Magic 2012, and it kind of like one of those things where you don't really piece it together because you don't think of piece it together. But then looking back, it's like, how could I have missed that? It's actually pretty cool that far back they were thinking of a oasis desert plane and having Nicol Bolas be one of the main influences of that plane. Or maybe it's the case of the egg coming before the chicken. Maybe somebody saw the art there and said, wouldn't it be cool? Regardless, I am so hyped. Whether they do actual gods like Theros or they just have any really strong legendary creatures, either way, I'm all for it. I thought the gods were a big hit. I love inserting gods where I can in my commander decks. And the thing that they announced right after that was arch enemy Nicol Bolas. So either playing as the big baddie himself or having a bunch of your friends beat the big baddie Nicol Bolas. So if you love arch enemy, it's certainly a great format. I've played it a few times. I like it. But I think the people that are really going to be hyped are the same ones who are hyped for the arch enemy Anthology. Which brings us to our next one. They announced Commander Anthology. Kind of a weird thing to announce. What's interesting though is that they are pulling 4 decks from 4 different time periods of release. So it's not like it's all 4 decks of like the first Commander product or the subsequent one. The decks that are going to be appearing are the decks which had Kalia, Derevi, Frealise, and Mirren. There has already been some complaints online about the choices of Commander. People have pretty much unanimously agreed that Kalia is a good choice. The other 3 choices have much left to be desired. For me personally, they seem like pretty good choices. I just wonder how well they all play together, because the goal is to, kind of just take this box out, plop it down, and have a Commander game. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing that's kind of been speculated on is that the legendary creatures, the commanders in this deck, are going to be getting regular foil versions. I don't know where that rumor came from. Some people are saying that because the Duel deck Anthology had foils, this one is going to have foils. But the thing that people are overlooking is that the Duel deck Anthology had foils because the original Duel decks had foils. there have been no foil regular size cards in these commander procs, so I don't see why they would put them in this one. If they do, I am all over that. Maybe they do it, but I haven't seen one credible source for that. So if you have seen it, or if you've come across that info, please share it in the comments. I would love to hear it. They announced another duel deck. Yep, another one. It's actually pretty cool. It's called Mind versus Might, which surprisingly hasn't been done before. I'm thinking that it should be a pretty interesting one. They've kind of moved away from doing the faction base for now because there hasn't really been any factions in the last few years. So I am interested to see what's going to happen, what's going to come out of this duel deck. Another piece of info that they gave is Hour of Devastation, which is the second set in the Desert Oasis block. And one last huge announcement that they made was Modern Masters 2017. So they are going to be including another Modern Masters. It is going to be covering the sets, the same past sets, but they're also throwing in the original Innistrad block and the Return to Ravnica block. So the immediate thing that jumps to mind for everybody is Snapcaster, Liliana the Veil, and Shocks. I don't think they're going to do Shocks because you can insert those in another set and they will just sell like hotcakes. I would say Snapcaster more likely than Liliana, but who knows? I don't know where they're going to go with this. Like, there are a lot of good cards that could come out of that set. Cavern of Souls is one that jumps up to mind too. One thing that is important to note is the release date for this set. It is coming out March 23rd, 2017. So normally in the past it's always been June or late May. I think it's always been June, but I could be wrong. This one here they've bumped up, which is actually pretty interesting. It's actually coming out before Amonkhet, which is coming out on the 28th of April. The last thing that they announced was actually, I thought was one of the coolest. No, Amonkhet is by far the coolest. I cannot wait to go to that plane. It's interesting because Kaladesh, is a plane that I'm excited for because it looks like the art is so beautiful, but the hype for me is all on this new desert set, this Egypt themed set. I cannot wait to get my hands on it, which kind of, for me, throws it in the face of why are we having, two announcements each year. It takes away from the upcoming stuff. But anyways, this is also really cool, and it's the new art for Chandra. I think it's awesome. I love it. I can't wait to see what her card does. I can't wait to have that card in foil. I hope it looks nice. I would be surprised if it doesn't. Most of Chandra arts have looked great. So that's all that was covered for today. Quite a lot of information to digest. I would love to know what you think of this announcement day. Was it a big hit for you? What are you looking forward to the most out of everything? What are you looking forward to the least? I would love to know. Leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to respond. Thanks for watching. Now don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. If you'd like to see more, click on one of the two videos that are there, or click on show more in the description below to see when and what we upload, as well as when we stream. And if you need an update on what exactly we're going to be streaming that week, don't be shy to hit us up in the comments or reach out to us on Twitter. We'll be more than happy to chat. Until next time, good gaming.